And you're listening to 2GLF 89.3 FM, the Relationship Whisperer show with Miss Dragonfly, where we discuss all things relationships with the aim to make marriage great again. Now, making marriage great requires you to know how to select someone, and that is where you can get all that information for absolutely free via my website, and because I provide a free download of my book, Your Complete Partner. So visit my new website, makemarriagegreatagain.net, to get your free copy, your free electronic copy of my book, Your Complete Partner, and it will guide you as to what to look for and what you require for in a long-term partner. So that's the first step in having a happy marriage, is getting it right the first time. Now, back to the show. We are coming to you live in the studio. And I have Bluey back with me again this week to provide the male voice and the male side.
This is the Blue looking out for you, the male perspective.
Yeah.
So make marriage great again, or run for the hills, lad, run for the hills.
You don't know what you're missing out on if you run for the hills.
There's the great debate, you see.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like I say, but yeah, you know, on the way to getting there, there are issues and I could say traps along the way.
Traps?
Yeah, I know for a lot of people looking for love.
Yeah, them ones that clamp your ankles.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can't get away.
More like more like the financial type. And I'm
financial clamps.
And I'm talking about scammers. I'm talking about dating scammers and romance scammers. I mean, look, we've had a Valentine's Day recently, so love was in the air a week ago, early in the year, and to coincide with that, there was an article released warning people, local lovers, that people lose a lot of money to romance scammers and to stay vigilant. So I'll read out the article. All right. It says, Aussies are being warned to guard their hearts and wallets against charming con artists after New South Wales residents lost 8.9 million to scammers last year. You know, I really thought it would be more than that. But maybe because globally, it is a big amount that people lose every year. Anyway, New South Wales Minister for Customer Service and Digital Government, Jihad Dib, has reminded singles looking for love to remain vigilant. Fraudsters aren't afraid to give you a heartache this Valentine's Day and will use sophisticated scams to try and steal from people across New South Wales. People can protect themselves from being rorted by Romeo or Juliet by not sending money to anyone they have not met in person. So this is something I was going to talk about.
Don't throw money off your balcony.
Juliet, don't do that. Yeah. Scammers stole more than 8.9 million from the pockets of hopeless New South Wales romantics in 2024, according to ScamWatch. Though bear in mind, this is the amount of people that are willing to admit it.
You could have a double demerit point system set up for Valentine's Day. Double demerits for these people.
Yeah. All age groups were represented in the 798 reports of romance and dating scams, including under 18s. Wow. Suggesting older Australians aren't the only group being targeted. It's important victims of romance scams speak up and get the help they need. Mr. Dib continued. Remember, there is no shame in falling victim to a con artist. Western Australians were similarly conned out of nearly 5 million in 2024 due to romance and dating scams, according to WA ScamNet. Commissioner for Consumer Protection Trish Blake expressed concern over the significantly higher total losses than the previous year. An average loss of over 87,000.
How much?
87,000, that was the average loss.
What? Average loss?
With one case, nearly 800,000.
Oh, dear.
That's the devastating reality of romance
That's a lot
scams
of dates.
in 2024. That's almost an entire house. What? If I'm talk about
dear.
giving someone the whole house. These staggering figures represent a lifetime of savings for many and can be financially crippling. Ms. Blake said artificial intelligence was a significant challenge for consumers and authorities. Deepfake technology is allowing scammers to create highly realistic videos, impersonating fabricated love interests and exploiting the images of real people in the process. Even more danger with AI now. That's why our advice remains that unless you meet in person, you should proceed with extreme caution, as you can't always trust what you see in video calls or hear over the phone. ID Support New South Wales is inviting anyone interested in learning more about scams, including warning signs and how to predict or protect your identity, to sign up for its free online event. Attendees will have the opportunity to seek expert advice on their digital dating dilemmas during the 1-hour session. Knowing the warning signs and take steps to protect yourself so you don't fall victim to those convincing imposters. Now, tips to avoid online dating scams. Minimizing the amount of personal info on your dating profile and adjusting your privacy settings. I guess it's so that they don't know as much about you. Limiting the disclosure of full names, addresses, work location, and information about any children, also for the same reason. Keeping conversations on the app. Online safety features on the app can only protect people while they're using the app. And looking out for suspicious photos or profiles. Dating apps now include verified photos that show a person is legitimate. An image search can also determine if a person is who they say they are. Setting up multi-factor authentication for accounts. This will minimize the risk of being hacked. And if it doesn't feel right, trust your instincts. So there's a number of issues from this. Firstly, why do people...
Usually if they ask you for or a lead to money in any way, that's a big telltale sign. Don't engage anymore.
Yeah, but there give issues. One, people are lonely, people are desperate, and why they fall for these Romeos and Juliets.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're going to have to
it's true. They're
discuss.
Lonely. They're lonely in their thing, so that's a shame.
Yeah. But before that, we will go to some music and we'll be right back. On the issue of dating scams, it is vicious. Bluey, wouldn't you say? I mean, really preys on people's...
Yeah, vulnerabilities.
Vulnerabilities. And what's the vulnerability here? Because people want to be loved.
Yeah.
I hear people admit to wanting to be loved. I mean, not everyone says it. Not everyone would admit to it. But I've never heard anyone say they don't want to be loved. Have you?
No.
No.
Like I say, I don't want to be loved by you, but maybe.
No, but it's not categorically. I don't want
100%.
love,
Yeah.
I mean, and any of our listeners, if you do have heard of someone that says, I don't want love at all, or I don't want anyone to love me, I don't want love, then let us know. But as far as we're concerned, and definitely I'm concerned, I mean, it's human nature that we do seek love. Doesn't have to be from a specific form of love,
Yeah, but these vultures are preying upon that.
Yes.
And that's a horrible thing. And they leave people with nothing. Like
People with nothing. I mean,
they'll devastate them, crush them financially.
and they keep finding victims because of this need for, because the human need for wanting
and
love.
They start asking for a little bit amount first, and then,
Yeah, it
and
preys
all the
on you,
rest of
and you know what? Because people are lonely.
Yeah.
People are lonely. At the end of the day, if you you come home and thinking you'd like someone to have a vested interest, not vested, have an interest in you and what you do.
Yeah.
There are cat ladies that won't agree, but we could talk about that later. but by and large, you come home from work to an empty apartment. You might feel that, oh, it's a relief. I don't have to face anyone, or I do what I want. But after a while, and it just wears on you that, there's no one around. And, and it's those moments, I guess, especially if you're ill, and then that's when you really feel alone. And I guess that's when people try to find someone. And a lot of times, where it used to be in the old days, it was being introduced or through a friend, and then modern times is go to a bar. Those Friday night drinks after work. At the bar, when you see the women there, they're up, dressed up and flicking their hair around, hoping a guy would come and speak to them, mate.
Buy you a drink, love.
Buy a drink, love, yeah. And I hope you find someone that way. However, that can be very inefficient, and I guess not everyone wants to go out and drink every Friday night. You see that a lot in office people after work.
It's changed to coffee shops now.
Yeah, it changed to coffee shops now, but I think it's more like a weekender.
Friday nights and things like that.
Friday night at coffee shop?
No, I mean in bars.
Yeah, in bars, and now.
Yeah, but usually now the coffee shop's now the new bar sort of thing, isn't it?
I think that's more like more weekends, wouldn't that be? Coffee shops where people don't have time to pour over during the weekday because they're at work. Though I guess now it's less so because more people have been working from home. And that's one of the big complaints about the cities is, where are all these people gone? And the nightlife is not what it used to be in the city. And businesses are complaining. I mean, I think that's why they're talking about making even Sydney 24/7 city. Like before, after a certain amount of time, everything had to be shut. I don't know why. It was a council regarding noise or something.
Something like that.
Something like that they wanted you to shut after a certain time. But now, because I think it's regulated so much, and people just go, oh, no one gets anything.
All closed at 3 a.m. or something.
No, I think it's more like 10 or something, restaurants. But you might have some bars or...
Yeah, bars, 3 a.m. or whatever, I don't know. But
they stay till that late, even a bar?
Yeah, I think so. But it used to be wake up in a city that never sleeps. And then that ended up closing at 3 a.m.
Yeah, well, Sydney's always been a city that closes shut, goes to sleep fairly early.
Well, this is referring New York or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So they sort of did it around the world. Like close the cities at 3.
Yeah, but not Sydney, really.
Because not much good happens after midnight, apparently.
I mean, the only thing that happens really, is
not much good happens
bars,
after midnight.
Yeah, but I guess, and then I guess, and now modern days, I guess, with also working from home, people don't have as much, and is not the community that it was before. And so people are more, guarding themselves, and people don't really talk to each other. I mean, a lot of people don't know who their neighbours are. Okay, or even talk to their neighbours now.
Yeah, how the paradigm has shifted.
Yeah.
How we relate to each other. We're just saying, like before, if your car broke down in the road, you'd get all these cars stopping to help you.
Help you, yeah.
And now, obviously not. They just know that you can pick up the phone and call someone or whatever.
Or people don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
And say, you're too busy with your own life, and saying, if I help that person, I'm going to miss my appointment or whatever, or I've got other things to do.
Yeah.
I think. So I guess that's why people have now gone to online dating. And while it's very much more efficient, there are other. It can be absolutely great because of that. And you would meet people that you wouldn't otherwise meet, never cross paths with.
Yeah.
Which is a very good thing in terms of it opens up the amount of people
Yeah.
and the types of people that you could not otherwise meet.
You wouldn't be able to meet them
Meet them the
otherwise.
traditional way. However, with that, it also comes with a myriad of
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
And the
You
big
could
one,
get a few sharks.
yeah, big one now is dating scams.
Yeah.
And they really prey on online dating. Like before, you know, you might have met someone that it turned out to be a con artist.
So they probably get these scammers looking at other people's profile and saying, "Oh, there's a potential for a lonely hearter."
Yeah, that person looks desperate.
That person looks, that's horrible. To think that people could be out there looking, predatoring over people.
Yeah, and you know
Oh,
what?
dear.
Yeah, before the invention of AI and filters and so forth, people like use someone else's photo. Like when I was watching about
Well, that's what the
dating
scammers
scams.
do, of course, isn't it? They don't put their own one up.
Yeah, but they select.
Have you ever seen them YouTube videos where the guy scams the scammers? So
Yeah.
he's actually a hacker, and he pretends to be an old man, like, and he gets the scammer to go, "Yeah, I'll give you my credit card number," and then he gets like a number or two before the end, and then the line cuts off.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
stuff
give
like
it to
this. And he's like, the guy gets really upset
and
on
trolling
the
them.
other side, and then he hacks their system, and he can see them in the hacking place. So he talks to them back, and he goes, "So whereabouts are you?" "Oh, I'm in Melbourne." He says, "Melbourne. So aren't you right next to this restaurant and the
they'll say, yeah.
chapati takeaway or whatever it is?"
Yeah, and they'll just go along and say yes.
And they go, "How do you know where I am?" So he hacks the scammers.
He hacks the scammers.
But
That's a good thing.
he pretends to be an old man first.
Yeah.
He leads them on for about an hour
Yeah.
first.
Ah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When you see the scammers getting scammed.
Yeah.
And
That is cool.
That's
So the other thing is like I said before, they might use a photo they found on the internet or someone's Facebook profile photo as the thing.
Yeah, and they
People
steal
fall
your
in love-
identity.
Yeah, people fall in love, not so much their identity, but just their image. So a lot, a very popular one, I guess everyone's heard of those Nigerian scams.
Yeah.
A lot of scammers from Nigeria. I come to think maybe they might have some scammers academy or something, because so many of these scams come from Nigeria.
And they're so bad at it.
No, but some are really smooth.
Well,
But it could be, someone from Nigeria doing it, and then they'll use the photo. A common one is an American soldier.
yeah.
Yeah, so a soldier from...
Oh, is that right?
Yep. And, they're posted, overseas and so forth. And then they're stuck. They're trying to get back home. They're out of money. Something like that. And people, And the photos there, the guys are handsome. So that was then. But now there are beauty filters and all that. And even men. So you can be talking online with them, a lot of things. And if we're completely different, the image could be a woman that you're talking to, where it's actually a man. Yeah, because of the filter.
A lot of the times it's a guy and some blokes down in their basement. Wearing underpants. And then they're chatting away thinking it's a beautiful looking model.
Yeah.
Girl or
whatever.
but it's actually a bloke at the other end.
A bloke, yeah.
And there's like... So that's the worry, isn't it?
So that's why now in with the AI, it's made it even more easy for these people
But it'd be also easier to spot them too, wouldn't it?
No, AI depends on how good the AI is. And
Okay.
yeah, have you seen the thing about these beauty filters in China?
No.
Yeah, these online influencers or whatever. They use these beauty filters. So it could be a 60-year-old woman, but the image looks like a girl in her 20s.
Is that right?
Yeah, and
It's almost like that's called a hologram, isn't it?
yeah, almost like it. The filter, the sort of thing. They say there cannot be that many beautiful women online, influencers. It's impossible. All of them are beautiful. And when I've seen like a montage, a compilation videos of all these influencers, so to speak, their online image versus the photo, what they truly look like. and some of them are absolutely incredible. And I saw there was
A
this,
bit like a Kamala Harris interview.
yeah, chameleon. What is it? What did she really say? So this is what does she really
What did
look
it look
like?
like?
And
Yeah.
even the little monkey, I think she
Well,
had,
some of them are blokes. When they look like model women or whatever, and they put back this thing,
yeah,
and then they end up being guys.
and they're guys. I guess it's easy in a way because a man would know what would push a man's buttons. What a man what would work on a man.
Yeah,
Yeah?
mate. That thing Liverpool didn't go too well at the weekend.
Wow, I found a woman that's interested in Liverpool and knows the ins and outs of soccer as well. I think it's amazing. I think I'm in love already. I found a unicorn. She's interested in the same things I am.
Yeah.
And then it was look, love, I'm in a spot of trouble. I mean, I've got this fine I haven't paid or whatever. I can't pay or whatever.
Yeah.
Would you be able to help me out?
Yeah. All these manners of things.
I was saying, look, I need or my grandmother needs an operation. That's
Yeah, there's no end to what they can.
Yeah, so
Stories they
look, stories, and I guess what happens is they start out with a small amount. Like I saw this story, I think it was 60 Minutes or one of those shows, current affairs shows, when they're doing a story on romance scams. They said, yeah, initially he asked me for a small amount. I say, look, $600. He's really short. I posted overseas, but he needed that to get back to pay for something, so we would be able to. And the next one, oh, thanks, hun, for that $600, but it ended up I needed something else as well. And then they start asking for more and more but when they ask for the second lot, you kind of like, you've already given it, okay, a bit more, and then they might for women, they might follow up by saying, oh, okay, send them a little Valentine's Day gift or something, a teddy bear or something.
Or give you something back.
A little teddy bear or something, just to make the woman say, oh, I'm good,
Good person.
Someone for my beloved, he really does love me.
Yeah.
He gives that, which would be in a cheap toy or something. But people that, they don't see that. They think it is the intent and so forth. Because these are lonely people. And I'll tell you, I think a lot of the times it's the women that get scammed. Because women are seeing
guys get scammed too.
Guys get scammed too. But it's more women are, more into relationships than men. True? More after love, and in a way it is easier to manipulate a woman through the heart because women are more emotional based, versus with men, I guess, if the woman's hot enough. Is that the case?
I'm not really sure,
or if a guy's lonely enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you hear about all these I don't know what they call it, sugar daddy sites or something.
Sugar daddy sites, I'm not sure, but
or something like that. Whereas, but at least there, it's actually they know what they're there for.
Yeah.
It's kind of like supposedly I think
I'll
men
pay for your education
or whatever, send you a certain amount of money. As long as I continue online relation. I don't even think they even meet, do they?
I don't know.
I don't know. Or I think if you don't meet, there's no honey about it.
I'm pretty sure that they would want to meet.
For a man, but I don't know if that even happens. And they're thinking, as long as they
is there a dating agency for that? Sugardaddy.com.
Sugardaddy.com. I think it would be. Now, I did hear from someone, that those that are interested in, after a woman that was interested in dating a wealthy men, and then she came away.
You reckon?
You
reckon that's
you don't
possible?
Think it?
You reckon women would want to date wealthy men?
Yeah, but then she ended up.
No,
she
came
back and complained. You know what? She went to the dating agency. She came back and complained. She said that the wealthy single men They're basically old with lots of health problems. That's why they're looking for love.
They're looking for
For
the
love.
oldest ones possible.
Yeah. But
92
health
plus
issues.
is the best ones.
But not even old, but in terms of wealthy, they might have been in age, but still have health issues. Yes, that's why they're lonely. I guess that's why also they're available.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
yeah, and but talking about dating agencies it's another thing. I mean, they had all these requirements. Women can have all these requirements, especially if they got older. I mean, over 35 or so forth, and then they still want a man a few years older with money, never married, and no kids, so not bringing any baggage, and be good looking and understanding and love them, be attentive and all that sort of thing. Well, one guy put it pretty succinctly. He said that look, a man that age that has those ticks those boxes, that's wealthy and has never married before and good looking, either he's got issues, that's why he's still single, okay, either emotional issues or some mental issues, or he is extremely picky. And if he's extremely picky, or he's not likely to pick you.
or he could be a closet gay.
Or because that
it
comes
could be
under.
all manners of things.
I think that's what he refers to as issues. Comes under the category of
But
issues
what I
for
think
a
the
woman.
moral of the story is that that's hard to find.
Yeah, extremely hard to find. And now look in
Rare
the
as hen's
haystack.
teeth, as he used to say.
Yeah, because a man who's that good, why wouldn't he be picked up long ago?
Maybe he didn't want to be.
Okay, so there's issues. Yeah, reason why. So then he's still not on the market. He's not available. So there's your answer. Still not available. And yeah, so look, going back to online scams, yeah, it's mostly online now that people get conned. And I really feel for people. People actually fall in love with these fake profile people.
Yeah, no. And they're not even real.
They're not in real. And people,
And a lot of the times, many times they actually know they're not real.
I guess inwardly, either they refuse to acknowledge it to themselves. Because I guess even if it's fake, at least someone's paying attention to them.
So what would you do if you
Pretty
were and
lies.
somebody was in that position?
Yeah, look.
What's the advice, you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, look, we get all
What
the
would Miss Dragonfly give the
advice. That'd be different from what they say. Or look, those tips that I mentioned out before, that's all fine and well. But yeah, it's not really addressing the crux of the problem, the issue, how to protect yourself from being played. Is that really, you have to think about, do you really want that to live with that type of person? Okay. And the type of person that one is obviously not financially responsible. That's why they're out of money. Okay. And the ethics of a person, what values and morals that they have, the type of values and morals that they have, would go about asking someone they've never met for money.
Exactly right.
Where is their pride?
Yeah.
Do they have any
That's
pride?
a big indicator.
That is
away.
a big indicator. So even if they are real, even if it is genuine,
Yeah.
this is the type of person they are.
Yeah.
And this
right.
is the type of person.
Means they're going to be asking you for everything.
Yeah, for all the
Almost.
time. Even if he comes over or she comes over and you live together,
Any life issue that they've got,
you have to solve it. It's
you're
all
the one
on
that
you.
has to solve it. Yeah.
On you. So it's like you're having a child that you've got to feed, take care of everything, and it's going to be an expensive child too.
Yeah.
It's not like a child that all you need is just give it food, clothing, and send to school or drive to school.
Yeah.
Okay, this is something adult needs, adult wants. You know, I want a car now
Yeah.
and not work.
Yeah. So you'd be better off trying to find some type of hobby activity where you can meet other people that way.
Yeah, even that way. But as I said, other avenues to meet people. But
really what you're after is that human interaction.
yeah, look, like online dating is absolutely fine. It has a lot of advantages. I think for people that don't get the chance to meet people or people that are more socially awkward.
You can
Okay.
meet people for half an hour or whatever.
Yeah, but however, these are the sorts of things that you have to look out for. And I guess people who haven't gotten training or really know what you should be looking for and rejecting in online dating. It's a whole different story because at the moment, online dating, you're sifting through is really based on looks. True.
But
Mostly, yeah. You see the profile, whether or not that
Yeah.
person looks acceptable before you are willing to dive deeper.
Yeah, the
even
eye
making
seems to
content.
be the most dominant of all senses.
We're all guilty of that.
Yeah, wandering eye and all of that.
Yeah. And now I am discussing meeting people with Bluey right here in the studio. Now, yeah, online dating, it's very popular at the moment, but there's been lots of issues. And the main one I find is that it's very hard to find your true love there, and meaning because people, it's very much based on appearance, online dating. I mean, profiles without a photo, I mean, people don't really click on with good reason because people want to see who it is they're talking to. And I guess it's human nature that we judge a book by its cover, at least in the first instance. True? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, whether or not you want to proceed and either you want to contact that person or actually see if that person looks acceptable before you start reading the rest of their profile. If someone has sent you a request. And I guess if that person looks acceptable before, you send an interest or accept their request to meet. Well, I mean, TikTok's like, what was the other one? Tinder. Tinder's probably the worst because that's basically swipe left or right. It's just on appearance. To me, it's more like a hookup. We say equivalent to a hookup joint. That's like based on appearances, meat market sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not the right person because I've never really been on it. It's like
Well, you'll be the odd one out because
very
now
much so. Apparently,
lots of people doing
Yeah.
online
Yeah.
dating. But yeah, because of that, or if you're searching for people, you can put in your filters, like a certain age or background. I don't know if all of them, but some of them is income levels as well, height, sort of thing, and build.
marriage status.
Well, presumably, unless it's was it Ashley Madison? That's the affairs one. Life's too short, have an affair
Oh,
one.
God.
Presumably, if you're on a regular dating site, it's there for singles. I mean, I don't think you'll get much interest if you're married. Wrong place. I mean, the most I've seen people put is separated. Divorced, separated.
Yeah.
There's some widows and just single people.
Yeah.
And they'll get. But if you put your parameters of what you perceive as an acceptable partner to you, then you might miss out on your best one. Or people that keep at it and just get horrible dates, find horrible matches and really inappropriate matches as well. Either from someone a lot older or a lot younger, or just someone just not in your sphere.
And you might not know for a few months' time. The person might seem great.
Might seem great, or what? Well, initially, yes, in the first few dates and so forth, and then after that, after you find out they're not right, or then you start the whole process again, and it wastes a lot of your time, energy as well, and I guess it's emotionally draining. Just coming up with dead ends and going up, facing dead ends all the time. No, this person, end up not. Next person, but also, so I guess in the end, a lot of people give up. And I guess it begs the question, where did they find, how did they meet someone then? If online dating doesn't work for them. So
So what's the best way to meet someone?
when they, more it's how do you solve this issue then? Okay. Look, I guess because I also do astrology.
Yeah.
And part of that is looking at, of course, the life factors, but also people's love lives as well. And there are certain periods.
Well, Taoist astrology or the Chinese astrology is more based on relationships, yeah?
It's been used as a tool on relationships a lot because back then, I guess, in the old days.
I mean, Western has as well, hasn't it? But not
To that same depth. Because of the culture, they look at different things.
Yeah.
Look, remember, your tools, as in this case astrology, is developed according to the culture. What's important to the culture.
Yeah.
What you look at, that they look at. And so they develop accordingly. So in Western astrology, I guess what they might look at compatibility or so forth, and then they look at, okay, will you get along with that person? Will that person bring out your creative side? Or what else is he saying? Things like that.
So it's based upon like somebody with qualities.
Yeah. Can
be observed.
That you get along with.
And then so you say, oh, there you've got all these things that are in sync with the other person.
With that person, similar and that sort of thing.
So then there's an automatic bond or something.
Or something like that. But also, whereas the Taoist, because it's more of, can that person add value to your life? Okay. More than anything else, or will that person bring you down? Because the person that adds value to your life, then love's a given. You're going to love the person that adds value to your life. Rather than trying to find out, you've got, it's more of, things that you're in sync with, and that's pretty surface. And that is a result of a fundamental. So they're looking at the surface area, whereas the Taoist astrology looks at the fundamental, and that then would manifest, all the other things.
Do you got any examples of like that?
Of fundamentals? Like I just said, if that person adds value to your life, you automatically love them. And you'd get along, rather than go the other way, say, you find someone you get along with, and then you go deeper. So it's the opposite way. So, like if that person happens to solve an issue for you, that loves you. That's it. And in terms of adding value to your life, it's not just cooking a few meals for you here and there, or fix your tire. That's not adding value.
It maybe adds some part of your personality that you lack.
It's a tool.
They have that in abundance.
So basically you look for people that it's more people that complement you. So skills that you don't have. If you're not the most practical person, you found a partner with the skills that can handle so much of the practical, wouldn't that immediately add value to your life? You just solved a big issue that you've got. And because of that, you're never going to leave them, are you?
Can you put that on a Tinder profile?
I solve people's problems. I can solve my partner's problems.
I'll solve all your problems.
My problems. I can solve that. Same. What's the reaction going to be?
Well, that's what people are looking
I
for.
don't need someone to solve problems for me. Or something, I can make you wealthier. Saying, you know what? I can earn my own money. And so, but a big thing is, how it's relevant to dating is that not only, yes, it's used for compatibility, but also when you are likely to meet someone.
Well, that's the big question.
So if it's not a time when it's likely to meet someone, it's very difficult. You might end up with these, very mismatches if you're doing online horrible dates, or even if you try to force it. If you're in a bar,
a certain time
when it's more conducive. So you can try to push it. I have
So you'd want to wear your best clothes for that date
so
or
you
whatever.
can be prepared
So
during
you
that
can be
time
prepared.
on
Yeah.
that if you know during this period.
So you don't want to be sitting at home alone when it's your
No.
best time.
Rest time. You want to give yourself, be out there, give yourself all the opportunities for that to happen.
I see.
So
what's the main difference between that and Western astrology?
well, Western, in terms of romance, they don't go as deep as the Taoists. This when we say
What
there's
complements?
yeah, no, look, one thing is I'll finish off with the complete about the time of meeting someone. It's also that you're more aware that it's of that period that you're able to meet someone, a serious relationship, which is what you're aiming for. Otherwise, you just be on one date after another. It doesn't matter. Is when you're more receptive to people approaching you during that time, so you can be aware, or if you happen to bump into someone, it could be him or her. That's the one you've been looking for. So more likely to follow up, and actually, or even speak to that person. If you happen to cross paths either through this situation or that.
So can you get an app for that? Like tell you when's your best time?
I should work on that.
It's a good time. It's a good time.
I should work on that though I do offer that service as well. When will you meet someone?
Make marriage great again through Taoist astrology.
Astrology, yeah. So yeah,
because a lot of people do hold it in high revere, don't they? Like in the old days, the villages would, you know, they would be very high esteem. These people.
Yeah, they're held in high esteem because they seem to be able to give them an advantage in life or help them through situations.
So tell you
information.
What you'd be good at as a career
or things like
what
that.
What kind of person you should marry.
What type of
stay
person.
Away from.
This type of person. Or actually, is that match that you brought to me, those details, do they match yours? Or is it good for you? Well, that it's good for you. Is that person good for you? Or not, or when is the likely time you should marry? I mean, there's times when, like I said, if it's not your time, it's really uphill. You can try to force the situation as much as you like by going on as many online dating apps and dates and so forth, or every Tom, Dick, and Harry that happens to say hello to you at a bar, but likely it's bad matches. So, and then I guess people do settle as well, putting themselves through bad dates and bad matches, try bad in relationships because they don't want to be alone. But if you knew when your time is, then you can forget about that. You don't have to. So this is the time I should meet someone. I'm due to meet someone. You're more open to when you meet people. To possibility that they could be a good partner for you. That could be the right partner for you or the one you should be meeting at this point. And then also I'm able to say when is you're likely to meet your what I call proper and improper spouse. It means just that. Now, the improper spouse is just that. It's like, yes, the person you may be able to marry, good enough to marry even, but if you do, it's more than likely it won't be a happy one and it won't last. And your proper spouse is just that. It's a one, if you're going to marry at all, that's the person you should be marrying.
Wow.
Yeah. And I tell some people, because there's some people's charts I've seen that encounter their proper spouse first and then improper spouse. And so that's when I have to tell people, look,
stay where you are.
Stay where you are. It's not worth.
Grass is not greener over the other side.
Giving up your proper spouse for the improper one. You'll later regret it. I guess in a way more like I haven't actually looked at Donald Trump and Ivana's charts. I've looked at Donald Trump, but not Ivana. Not comparing it to Ivana, but that's an example. That was his proper spouse. And then later he divorced her because he had an affair with that Marla Maples. Okay, and then later said he regretted leaving Ivana for Marla. I think my marriage with Marla lasted like 3 years, something, only a few years. Whereas Ivana, I mean, they got wealthy together.
Yeah. She was partly the brains.
Yeah. So that was his proper spouse. So left a proper spouse.
Proper spouse.
Proper spouse for an improper one. You do it the other way around, but never do it this way. Leave your improper spouse for your proper spouse, because that's the right fit. More than the one with a bit of kink that's not quite right. If you're ever doing with these jigsaw puzzles,
Yeah.
there's ones that match the whole exactly, and the ones that you can try to force
Sort
it
of
a bit.
Could go if you just bang the table a bit.
Bang the table a bit. But if you just bang the table a bit, or just snip a bit off, and then you can force it in.
No, talking about snipping a bits off.
Yeah, the audience ideas. But so that's an example. So if you knew all that information beforehand, and so I tell people that would really give you perspective and be a good tool of making decisions in life. Yes, I know. I always tell people, but after this period, when you encounter your improper spouse, just behave yourself. If you're already married, and that was your proper spouse, behave yourself.
Behave yourself.
Behave yourself. Yeah, for your own good. You thank me. Okay? Thank me later after.
I got my proper spouse already. Dang.
You got your proper. That is your proper spouse. You won't go. You won't be able. You won't do better. As in that, you won't get anyone better for you. After that. So, like I say, information is the key. Information very powerful. We see it as a big tool in you getting through it. You're saying going through life easier.
If somebody wanted to do that, like, how would they go about it?
Well, just contact me. I mean,
Yeah, but if they wanted to do some research or whatever on Chinese Taoist astrology.
I mean, I have to say that
people.
Yeah, info on my website. You can read that. Read that, and I explain it. And I explain lots of tools that our ancients and our ancestors left behind us. It's still relevant today. Lots of things are relevant. I mean, it doesn't change because with the human nature is still the same.
So all them animals and things are all.
Well,
they all have a purpose.
Yeah, well, it's symbolic. It doesn't. It's a symbolic thing. So it's easier for people to understand. I guess use a symbol for something.
The thing about it is you really need to be accurate with the year, the month, the day of your birth.
Yes,
and the time,
the time as birth,
and the location.
Location.
Northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere.
Yeah, not as much. Well, it's a little different from the Western one. Was right under certain stars, whereas the Taoist is more of the energetics of that time around, so it's more local time. Okay, because energetics of 3 o'clock in this country would be about the same as energetics of 3 o'clock in another country. So it's the energetics of the environment. Okay? But and then you get the complete. I mean, you can do it without the time. I mean, unfortunately, not everyone knows what their time of birth is. People didn't think it was relevant. But then you're missing 25% of the information. You can do a reading, but it may not always be accurate. And I know that some readers refuse to do it without knowing the time because, per se, professionally, they can't, do a job where it may not be right. Not their fault, but simply because there's an unknown factor. But saying it's amazing tool in life. It's basically for knowledge. Just like saying, people say, "Oh, you can't have things set in stone." Well, think of it as like the weather forecast. That's not always 100% accurate because other factors can come in play. Things can change, and dynamics. But you use it as a guide, don't you? So if they say it's going to be rainy certain days, you're not going to plan your picnic on those days.
Yeah.
It'd be silly to. It may not rain. because that storm cloud might end up dissipating before
Or
it
like
gets
the
there.
charts of the sea, like the sea is to the minute, the
Yeah.
tides. The tides are to the minute.
Yeah, but then sometimes things happen and it doesn't end up raining. Things like that. But by and large, it is a pretty good guide.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we check the weather forecast to plan our activities. And why would it even be much different? Checking your astrology to plan important events in your life. In this case, it's your love life and who you choose to be your special person, your partner in life,
Oh dear.
which is more important than any other partner. I'd say, look, even say you have a business partner, okay, that affects your business. But a life partner affects your whole life as it is. And I find it amazing, It's funny that people put more thought into which car to buy and which car is going to be right for them than what type of partner is going to be right for them.
Wow.
You've observed that? It's true a lot of the times. It's amazing. And it's amazing that no one actually picks that up and calls that out. I mean,
Well, I suppose it comes down to like cars. If you've got the money, you choose. But with a person, it's sort of like you sort of, as you mentioned, lonely hearts. You sort of take what you can get.
take what you can get,
In
but
many instances.
But even if you have the choice, people don't actually put much thought into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how that person's going to affect their life.
Yeah. Well, most people are lost in the euphoria.
Okay,
Yeah.
if they get along, if they're having fun with that person. But that's not life. I mean, life is not just a holiday all the time. And that's why the people, what do you call it, like summer flings or holiday, meet someone when you're on holiday because you're already in a good mood and everything's in
Like
holiday mode, and here
like a
the
Grease
meet
movie.
someone and it seems all you do is just have fun every day. But then when you come home, reality hits.
Got to go to work.
Got to go to work, and that person, while they was fun on holidays, might have annoying habits or other characteristics that you didn't know about or didn't
that
think
which
about.
initially attracts soon repels.
Soon repels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It certainly becomes revolting after a while.
Now, a little bit of a change of pace. I've come across this article that is rather controversial, but though would not come as a surprise to many people. It says that liberal women are the least happy and loneliest in America, according to a new survey. Now, for people that are not familiar with the term, liberal here in this context, it doesn't mean conservative as it is in Australia, like the Liberal Party. It means left wing and wokeism. Just think left wing and woke. And feminists. So that sort of thing, that's what they're referring to when they say liberal women. And the article says here, liberal women are more likely to report feeling lonely than their conservative counterparts. New evidence in the 2024 American Family Survey found that 37% of conservative women between the ages of 18 to 40 reported being satisfied with their life. So this is women. These are women in their prime, this age group. And only 12% of liberal women in the same group said they felt the same way, while 28% of moderate women said they were satisfied. So you can see quite a big difference there. It is kind of like, 12% of the most left wing and 28% of those in the middle and 37% are those on the right. And the article goes, the findings also say that liberal women are nearly 3 times more likely than conservatives to say they experience loneliness at least a few times a week. So being liberal means lonely, and it's more lonely. It also broke down the relationship status of those surveyed, saying 40% of liberal women reported being single, while 31% were married. For conservative women, 33% reported being single, while 51% were married. So for conservative women, a greater portion of them are married. That's what it's saying. And the remaining respondents said that they were in a committed relationship or were cohabiting with a partner, meaning de facto. Conservative women are also more likely to embrace the differences between men and women and prioritize family and attending church. The survey had questioned 3,000 Americans in coming to their findings, with the poll being just released. Now, sociologist Brad Wilcox at the University of Virginia said that he believes there are several explainers for the rift between conservative and liberal women. We'll see if we agree with this.
Okay, this will be interesting.
Yeah, okay. He said, we've seen in the research that conservative women tend to be more likely to embrace a sense of agency.
Agency,
and to have the sense that they are not in any way the victim of larger structural realities or forces. Namely, what I think is about, I hear feminists screaming about the patriarchy. I think that's what he's referring to.
Maybe it's like maybe they think they wear an FBI badge, and they've got control over everybody else.
The final analysis added, this ideological divide does not appear to be just a consequence of negative thinking. It also seems to flow from the fact that liberal young women are less likely to be integrated into core American institutions, specifically marriage and religion, that lend meaning, direction, and a sense of solidarity to women's lives. I guess it means direction and anchoring your life. Lower levels of marriage and church going among liberal women may also have a hand in their elevated reports of loneliness, which in turn diminishes their odds of being happy. Any efforts to bridge this ideological gap in young women's emotional well-being will seemingly require not only a change in thinking, but also a renewal of young liberal women's connection to America's core institutions, being family and faith. In 2023, a European study found that conservative women are more attractive than left-wing females. Danish and Swedish researchers tested a deep learning artificial intelligence called a neural network that can predict a person's political leanings the majority of the time, solely based on their headshot or what they look like. Yeah, I guess. Well, things like pink hair would really stand out and signal.
Like nose piercing or whatever.
All that. Yeah, unlikely to be a churchgoer.
Tattoos over your face.
Churchgoer. It found that right-wing women were more attractive based on a publicly available scoring system. The group found no such link in men, but did determine that the left-leaning men showed more neutral, less happy faces, suggesting perhaps better skilled at guarding their emotions. So it happens, men and women all together. So basically, difference between left-wing and conservative women, and it actually manifests in the face as well. So, my take on this, liberal women being unhappy, and that, to me, I'm not surprised, because think about what do they push and what do they aspire. They're saying about more often feminists, of course, push the divide that says, especially from a lot of hardline feminists, we don't need a man. Oh well, if you have that philosophy and that motto, you're unlikely to be married. Okay, so that accounts for less of them being married. And also, what's the other thing? More unhappiness, well, more lonely. Of course, you don't need a man. You're more unlikely to have a partner. Also, the thing was that, I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need anyone, and so forth. More likely, I guess, to reject a different points of view. So then you're likely to have friends from different spheres. Well, that's you're more close off, and I guess, well, in the end, I guess that's what they keep referring to the cat ladies. They're less likely to have children or want to be part of that, I guess, and more often than not reject their femininity. Yeah, you can actually see it. I mean, especially when liberal protests and so forth, and you see the women.
Yeah, there's not much femininity there.
There's not much femininity, yelling and screaming, and it's like, yeah. And to me, it just smacks of them, following that divide and say of wanting to be like men.
Yeah.
Okay, like feminists push. This is the thing they keep saying: women are equal to men because they are like men. I guess people keep confusing equality with sameness. Do you need to be the same to be equal?
Good point.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's surprising that all these psychologists and psychiatrists haven't picked that up. It's so obvious. Sometimes when people are so academic, they miss the obvious. And this is a whole barrage of people. No one's pointed that out. But that's what I take. And the thing is, because they're trying to be something they're not. Okay, rejecting their femininity, rejecting everything that is to be female.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you cannot be happy unless you're able to be yourself. Yeah, you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that also comes out when they're saying the conservative women, the surveys, is more attractive. I guess because the liberal thing, they really comes out. What's another thing they say? They don't reject being a sex object, or they don't need makeup. Makeup, you're just making up for
just pink hair or green hair
or something like that. And yeah, one thing, yes, they don't groom as much because of that, the rejection. The other thing I'll pick from this is that is it that the people that are more attractive become conservative, or just happen to be conservative, the more liberal, just happen to be born,
or are they just more attractive in comparison?
I just born that way or become that way, Because they just liberal, and I think and because the liberals reject society, the way society structures, as it says, the agency, and they tend to be more playing the victim, blaming the patriarchy, and also because they're not being them. Yeah, like I said, they're not being themselves. And look, if they're not attractive, people that are attractive, hey, society already works for them. They don't have to. They don't reject it then, so they stay conservative. So they are conservative. But those, unfortunately, that are not attractive by society's standards, then reject and became the liberal, and then blame society. And then, that's why you get a marriage of things. It's a lot of thing about that body positive movement, you see, where a lot of the big people, mainly women, are saying that, they are more, and normally they're more leftists. They're saying they want everyone else to change for them and to see them as attractive. Okay, and rather than, as I just loosely accepted that aesthetically, people are hardwired.
Yeah.
That way. And so that's why they gravitate more towards the left. That's why you end up having the people on the left not being as attractive as the people on the right or the conservatives. So what do you think?
Wow.
Makes sense. And you know, it's really telling that people can pick it out from their headshots, their leanings. Either they're conservative or they're liberal, and often they get it right
Well,
because it manifests in their appearance.
you can glean a lot of information from a photograph about what a person's sort of like.
Yeah, and interesting about they're saying about the men. Liberal men and don't show happy faces.
No, they don't.
Yeah, well, they'd say more inclined to be neutral, because more often than not, what do they say? So that left-leaning men showed more neutral, less happy faces, suggesting perhaps better skilled at guarding their emotions. I'll say because they're just not as happy. And I have found that normally more left-leaning men are the lower testosterone men. It's just the case, like, look, for women, the less attractive women shift more to the left. For men...
Too much testosterone.
Okay, could be, maybe. But they don't fit it. But for men, it's more the testosterone. So lower testosterone... Because look, with women, it's competition is based. It's a lot of it is sexual competition based on appearances. Yeah? Women are judged on their appearances.
Yeah.
For men, it's different. It's judged on their ability to be
an owner or
and be able to compete.
Compete.
Compete in society. And lower testosterone men cannot compete as well. So then they reject the conservative, the normal narrative or normal rules in society and go to the left. Just like the liberal women, we don't need that. That doesn't apply. That's actually bad. They say, why can't women be the breadwinner? Because they can't do it themselves. Or very, very poor at it.
It seems like you put a lot of thought into this.
Well, it's just, I have to I understand the differences between men and women. And the thing is, people in society, can't blame society, expect something to be what they are and to perform what they're supposed to. Like you expect a dog to bark and a cat to meow. If it doesn't, then you think that there's something wrong with them. Wrong with that. What's wrong with the dog? It's not barking.
What's wrong with the cat lady?
The cat lady, no, she just loves cats. We're saying, why can't she love dogs? But it's just a thing. You expect a German Shepherd to be able to guard, but not be a wimp and run away. Okay. But similarly, if it's a poodle, if it's extremely aggressive, what's wrong with a poodle? It shouldn't be like this. It should be loving. So then that gets rejected. It's not living up to what it's supposed to be.
Good points.
Yeah. If people think of it that way.
You make me want to rush down and download your book.
People like to say, you have a German Shepherd expecting certain qualities from a German Shepherd.
Stinky.
Loyalty and all that. Loyalty and being able to guard with some training. But it's supposed to have
arthritic knees.
Arthritic knees. You get the gist. I mean, you wouldn't expect a poodle to be able to do police work, train it up to do police work. Maybe some people might argue, what about a standard poodle, which is the large one? To some extent, but that's not really, even though they've got the size, it just still doesn't, there's a reason why they're not chosen.
You're not scared of it, are you?
Yeah. There's no
shit, there's a big poodle out there.
There's none of that intimidation factor. There's German, but they use German Shepherds for police work with the training. Look, some German Shepherds do not cut it as police dogs. They don't cut the mustard, and then they just become family pets. But then, in a way, they're rightly or wrongly, they're seen as lesser German Shepherds. Because not able to do the guard duty. I mean, it's just the same. Women or society expects a man to be able to do certain things, expect him to be masculine, and a woman to be feminine. Okay, no matter how liberal-minded you are, and it's this age of equality and so forth, at the end of the day, it's biology that rules, and that's why feminine and feminine-looking women are more popular on dating websites, and the more masculine and taller men are more popular on the get picked more often dating websites. So it's a general population. It's a general public. You can't argue with biology. I mean, many people try to, but it doesn't work.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it doesn't work. All you have to say to look at is who gets picked more often.
Yeah.
Is it the man, a photo of the man in the pink jumper?
Instead of white privilege, it should be good-looking privilege.
Good-looking privilege. But really,
because you do get a lot of you do get privileges.
Yeah, like let's say
when you're good-looking.
Yeah, you do. You get a pass in society. You have a social advantage.
Yeah, you do. You get invited to parties and
so forth. and you get better service when you buy things.
Yeah.
You're talking about.
You get more meetings at business and stuff like that.
And
you get more sales, perhaps.
Yeah, and you're talking as someone that knows. And unfortunately, those that are not attractive have a social disadvantage. I mean, and
if you look like that thing out of Precious, you don't get very well.
Yeah, look, it's just
apparently he got rented out to go to weddings and stuff.
What, you mean the actor?
Yeah, he looked like that little Precious, and they thought, we've got a famous actor. And ended up being him for a wedding.
Imagine having that. Well, and we are coming towards the end of our show. So, just a summary to today. We've looked at this survey of why liberal women are the least happy. Bluey, which is should be a surprise because presumably they've had more freedom than women throughout history have had. Right? Shouldn't you be happy having all this freedom to do what you want and be a strong, independent woman that doesn't need anyone, at least for a man? So shouldn't you be happy?
Well, I'm not sure about that.
But evidently not.
I remember there was this movie a few years ago with Mel Gibson, What Women Want. And he bumped his head or something, woke up, and he could hear what women were talking about and what they were after. And, I want to go and all these things. Well, imagine if it was in a different movie and he bumped his head and he could only hear what liberal women want.
Well, they might secretly, I think they might secretly want what all the other women want, but what they say is different.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. They sprout the political correctness and the narrative that, strong and independent woman, you don't need anyone, you don't need a man to be happy, you don't need a family, you don't need kids. Why would you want kids? Your career is the most important thing. And what is really a career? That is about making money. It's about gaining status, or to a lot of people, to the supporters and people pushers, say independence. About independence from what? They're saying independence from having rely on someone else, especially a man. But hang on, if you're married, are you relying on someone else? It's what they're not considering. That or is it really a partnership? That's what I was saying. Look, why it's just like, why do people, instead of going into business for themselves take on a business partner? Because it's easier with someone else. But make sure you get it right. And not take on a bad business partner because it's a disaster like everyone else. But it's the right business partner, you shoot up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you just think of it as being either a member of a team, working with someone, or being a one-man band.
Two hands are better than one.
Two hands are better than one. Okay? That's what even all these relationship experts, they are not miss the point. With all these degrees and all these certifications, you miss the bloody point.
They didn't study the astrology.
The astrology, yep. And that is a big thing that can come to it, especially when they say that, regarding people being desperate and for love, and then exposing themselves to being, these dating and love scams, because they're being part of the desperation for love in your life. But and I really feel for people that end up being.
So if you see anything from, where is it, Nigeria?
Nigeria, well, obviously they're
Is
not
that
going to
is that the main place? That
I think
seems to be the
Nigeria.
main place, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got a name for itself, because so many scams have come from Nigeria.
What's it called?
It's called Nigerian scams. People say, Nigerian scams.
I thought they would have something clever for that.
Oh, I think that if stuck to Nigerian scams. I did once say, so the Prime Minister or something in Nigeria say, hey, we're not all scam artists. Our country is not just about scamming. Don't paint us with that.
Can you go there for a scam holiday? Like, you can learn how to be a scammer?
Scam? And that's why I'm wondering whether or not there is a scam academy. Actually, of course,
They must go to night classes over there. They must go to night classes.
They must have. Yeah. And reminder to all our listeners.
Fly-by-night classes. Fly-by-night classes.
To get
perhaps.
your free copy of my book.
You sure it's not a scam?
No, that's
You
definitely
sure that's not a
a
scam? It sounds like it.
That's
Well,
definitely
you know what
not
they
a
say
scam.
about when something's free.
Of my book, but okay. But
Maybe that's how you could promote your book.
Not a scam?
You could do it from people from Nigeria. You could get them to promote it for you.
I don't think it'll be free from Nigeria.
No, that's
No,
right.
so- But
They'd put another. They'd say it's $100 and probably get it as well.
but I say if you're lazy to read, I guess you can still you can get the audio version, the audiobook version, and that's available for a few dollars. If you want to go that route, just to cover costs. So get it. So head on over to my website, makemarriagegreatagain.net. Okay. And I hope everyone's enjoyed the show today. Let me know what you think by leaving your comments on my Facebook page. And I've got 2 Facebook pages, Miss Dragonfly and also Make Marriage Great Again. And please follow both if you can, because I do post different things on the 2 pages, but at least follow one. Okay. And thanks very much, Bluey, for coming in again this week.
The blues keeping it true.
Okay.
You got to be the bloke's perspective.
Yeah, you got to have the bloke's perspective.
You just can't have all the women saying all the
things. Yeah,
having their own way.
And I think the men would be appreciating you being here to give their voice, give them a voice as well.
Run for the hills, lads.
Well, not that bad. I guess if
you get the wrong one, that's what happens.
Well, I guess if you're a liberal man. Or low testosterone man.
Is it time to go now?
Yeah, if you're in a pink jumper.
Is it cold outside?
Well, that's it for the show this week. And remember to tune in next week, same time, Sunday at 5 p.m. And until then...
What time?
5 p.m.
5 p.m.?
Next Sunday.
On a when?
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.